Right, boys and girls, welcome back to the Big Nez Bootcamp, and today we're going to be going over how to backtest efficiently and just how to backtest in general. And the softwares we're going to be using for this are TradingView and Google Sheets. We can also use FX Replay if you do not want to pay for the TradingView Premium, but I'm not going to be going over that today. It's just going to be strictly on the TradingView platform that you see before me. So what we're going to do, we already know the strategy from watching the previous episodes of the bootcamp, and this is literally just going to be purely and utterly how to backtest the strategy. So what you want to do is pick the time period that you're going to backtest from. I recommend minimum 1 to 2 years. So go back in time to that date. How you do that on TradingView is you just click this replay button here, and then at the bottom you've got like select bar, and then you can click select date, and then you can go back. So like, for a good example of this would be, say you wanted to test 2024's data, click January 1st. What I'm actually going to be doing in this video though is just recapping the trade that we took yesterday, just to make things a lot more simple, because I know there's going to be a trade here. We don't want to be sat here waiting for a few days going through the charts, knowing that they're not knowing when or there may be a setup type thing. So what we're going to do is we're literally just going to go back. So we have gone back now to Friday at 8:20 in the morning, and how we're actually going to be recording this data is on Google Sheets. So if I quickly move my big head over here, on Google Sheets, what we're basically just going to do is set out what we're actually going to be tracking during the backtest. So this may be date, it may be time, it may be session, and you can get a lot more creative with this if you want to track more variables of the model. But in this example, I'm going to keep it really simple. So we're going to put date, time, session, result, and then we will do a R counter as well. And then we could put some other variables in there, but we're just going to keep it super simple for now for you boys and girls. And what I like to do is just make it look a little bit more fancy. So we're going to have a little bit of a buff up there of the titles. And then we're going to come back onto the chart, and as we know, finding our bias on the full mech model is going to be very simple. We are literally just going to be looking at the most recent fractal breaker structure, tracing back the fractal. So boom, boom, boom. We have a break to the downside here. So we are going to be looking for sells within this session. Then we're going to jump onto the 5-minute chart here, and we're going to look at our previous and current session. And we're just going to have a little look here at the previous session. What was the highest point? And we are going to mark out the highest point of the session here. Now, we're literally just going to sit back, kick back, and wait. We've set our notification on the highest point of the session, and I believe in this case there was no sweepington in the London session. So yeah, there's no sweep in the London session here. So what we're going to do is we are going to reset that, and we are going to mark out our highest point of the of the London session, and then we're going to just quickly double check our bias. Yeah, we're still bearish. Cool. And we are still looking for Sellingtons. So we are going to get our sweep here. We get our sweep, we get our first bearish candle. So we're looking at adding in our fake out zone tool from the lowest point of previous to current session to the highest point. We've chucked that in here. We are now setting a notification on our point here, which is the 0.079 level, which is the fake out zone, and we are just waiting for that to be tapped. So we are waiting here, waiting here, waiting here, waiting here. Boom, we get tapped in by this news event. Doesn't matter what taps us in, that is our fake out complete. So now we're looking for our fractal break, and then we're just waiting on our fractal break, which we get right about here. So we are chucking on our Fibonacci, and then we are waiting for our entry. So we've got the fib on here. We're putting our entry position on, and this is nothing to do with backtesting. This is just a strategy here. You can backtest any strategy with this, but I recommend if you've watched a bootcamp, you backtest a full mech strategy. So boom, we get tagged into our trade here. We're targeting a fixed 3R, and lo and behold, shit, one sec. We are your boy's actually fucked up here. I haven't put it right on the level. This is one of them ones where we get a classic tap and barrel. So yeah, look, we get our 3R here. Gotta make sure your shit's accurate, don't do a big nez right there. And then we get our 3R here. So then what we're gonna do is we're gonna come back onto our spreadsheet. This is the 20th of February, 2026, as you can see at the bottom. If you look at the bottom of the screen, somewhere down there where my little black thing is, you can see it is 16:10, which we get tapped in. So we're gonna put time 16:10, and I got the memory of a goldfish, so I've already forgot. Yeah, the 20th of February. So the 20th of February 2026, and then we're in the New York session. Our result is 3R, so then we're going to put our counter at 3R. And how you would use the R counter here, the R tracker, this is basically how you gauge whether the strategy is profitable over a long period of time. So say we had another trade on, I don't know, the 26th of the 2nd, 2026. What we would do is we would we'll fill in some fake info here, some London, so some New York trade, and then maybe we had a -1 here. So then we'd literally just put the counter down to 2, so 3, 2, and then say we lose another trade here, then we're going to bring that back down to 1, and say we win a trade here, we're going to then bring that up to 4, and this is how we keep track of the R throughout the month, throughout the year, throughout our backtested data. And that is pretty much it. That is how you backtest. I'm not going to draw this video on longer than it needs to be. Get yourself on the sheets. Get yourself either on FX Replay or on or on TradingView and start backtesting.